Good morning. Hey there, Aileen here. Friday morning, my Friday morning live, and I am thrilled to be here with Sarah Heron of True Colors by Sarah Heron. Did I get that right, Sarah?
True Colours with Sarah Heron,
Oh,
Aileen.
with Sarah Heron. There you go. I'm thrilled to have Sarah here. And I just really want to talk to Sarah this morning about her journey from being a school teacher to a personal stylist. And I'm just intrigued to hear her story, and you're probably intrigued too. Welcome, Sarah. It's great to have you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. It's lovely to be here.
Yeah. I can actually still remember back to that first phone call we had together, Sarah. How long ago was that now?
It must be 3.5 years ago, or 4 years maybe.
Wow. It was before COVID anyway, for sure.
It was because I launched my business the first week of the first lockdown. So yeah,
Okay. Okay. So I remember back to that phone call, and I can't remember the exact specifics, but I remember you wanted to get trained as a color consultant, and you were very interested to work online. And you also told me that you were transitioning out of a career from being a school teacher. So tell me about your career before you became a personal stylist and how you made that transition into becoming a personal stylist, Sarah.
okay, so I have been a primary school teacher for a number of years. I graduated as a primary school teacher with a specialism in special ed. So I worked with a lot of children with profound learning difficulties initially, very early in my career. Then decided I was going to be grey before I was 30. So came out of teaching for a while, went into the world of event management, marketing, PR, and then met my now ex-husband, who was a teacher. And we started a family together, and returning to teaching just seemed like a completely obvious thing to do. It worked for family life. And I got a real buzz from it, actually. It's fair to say that I love teaching. I love working with children. I actually worked at the boys' school where my sons were both attending for some time. And then yeah, things started to get quite toxic, really, certainly in my marriage, and then sadly in school. And I kind of hit this crossroads in my early 50s, and I thought, you know what, I can go on moaning about how unhappy I am and how stressed I am. I'd had a nasty health scare, and I blamed the stress for that, and thought, do you know what? You're never too old. I'm going to do something different with my life. So that was kind of the catalyst, if you like.
Wow. And where did personal styling come into this? You know, did you see somebody doing it? Were you watching Trini and Susanna? Where did you get the inspiration to become a personal stylist?
Well, it's interesting you should ask that because fast forward a few years, having been a single mum with my two young sons, I put their needs very much at the forefront of my life. So I think I'd kind of hidden away in anything when I look back that was big, baggy, and black. It was as simple as that. I lost myself. And I think that was very reflective of the dark space that I was in. Um, I don't know how, but I subsequently met my new partner. And my partner had lost his wife tragically to cancer at 53, and he was very much of the opinion that stress had been a contributor to that situation. So wanted me to get out of teaching, really.
Right. Wow.
And give me an option. So I bought into my first business. It had always been a dream to be self-employed. And that business was a jewelry business. And I bought a jewelry franchise business. And as part of that, I set up a collaboration with a very large colour consultancy business. And it was through that I was invited to speak at the annual conference of said company to announce the collaboration between the company and myself as a jewelry franchise owner. And the financial director, who was a man, said to me, please would I go and have my colours done before I gave the presentation at the conference? Because otherwise, the ladies in the audience would spend more time judging me and judging what I was wearing than they would listening to the collaboration and what I had to say.
It's true, but it must have been hard to hear that.
It was.
Yeah. It's a
Especially.
hard thing to hear.
So somewhat begrudgingly, I went along and had my colours done. And I remember sitting in front of this full-length mirror with this black cape around my neck, all my makeup taken off, my hair scraped back into a white scarf, feeling so vulnerable and so miserable because the full-length mirror showed all of the weight that I'd put on. I felt very exposed. But it's fair to say that as the colours were draped across my shoulders, I could instantly see the impact. I could instantly see, and I can distinctly hear myself saying, oh, no, get that away. That looks dreadful. The certain colours that clearly weren't right for me. And the consultant at the time said, you've got a real eye for this. And I never thought any more about it, but I didn't forget that feeling that I got. And this is what I want to package. This is what I want to be able to offer other women who, like myself, had perhaps struggled, hit a crossroads, lost their confidence as I had done. Because to me, it seemed like a simple fix. Because as soon as I started wearing the colours that I'd been assigned, people would compliment me and say, oh, you look really well. Have you been on holiday? Or have you lost weight? Well, I wish. But the difference it was making, people were starting to notice. Those compliments then fueled my own confidence, and I was away. And I thought, I need to train in this. I really want to understand this better. I want to be able to offer this as a business so that I can support other women, other midlife women whose story may well resonate with mine and vice versa.
Amazing. And you reached out to me then, Sarah. Was that the first training you had done, or had you done something else in the meantime?
I think as a teacher, I'm naturally quite curious. I'm also very resourceful. So I'd done quite a bit of research myself online. And I knew that I didn't want to go down the traditional franchise route, because having had a jewelry franchise, I was a little bit disenchanted with that as a model for me personally. So I wanted an independent route. And it was then, I suppose, doing all of that research that I came across you, and I thought, wonderful, this is manna from heaven.
I was going to say, wonderful, looky me.
Yeah. Well, I was just so delighted to find you. We had a conversation. I loved your vibe. I was very impressed with what you were putting out there. And so, yes, that was that was my first training. So I did initially, and then went on and did style.
Yeah, because the training that I was offering at the time, I had packaged it as, online training. But what I was beginning to discover is that a lot of the ladies who joined the program, they started by offering online color analysis, but they also used the training to do in-house color analysis, which I absolutely adored, because that's the way I am. I'm quite innovative. I've been around the block. I like to extend whatever I learn. And I love that about you, that you didn't really go the traditional route of, going for, a 6-day in-house program with, a sales day or a marketing day kind of tagged on at the end. Because what I find is that there are so many consultants out there who have gone that route. They don't have any support afterwards, and they really, really struggle to do color analysis because there's just no support after that initial training. And that's why when I set up my training, that I made sure that people have lifetime support. You have lifetime support. You should never, ever, ever be stuck wondering, am I getting it right? Am I sending the client away happy? So that was one of the key things that I wanted. But I was so happy with you, Sarah, because you ran with it so quickly as well. How long from the time you took my training till you got your first client online? I actually don't know the answer, so you're going to be telling me now.
Well, as I say, I did the training with you over the Christmas, and then I launched the business the first week of the first lockdown, which was the beginning of March. In fact, I believe
Right.
it's business birthday next week. So yeah, a matter of weeks.
Isn't that amazing? From never having done, a face-to-face consultation, you just went directly online and started offering online color analysis. Isn't that just amazing?
Yeah. I mean, I'd always wanted to do online and in person. I've got this sort of romantic notion of having, the laptop lifestyle, sitting on a beach with a cocktail in one hand, laptop in the other. And my partner's a little bit older than me, and he's coming up to retirement. And I thought, this will work brilliantly. So I intended to do local in-person colour consultations. And the online was to be a smaller part of that business. But actually, because of lockdown, I had to go fully online, which was really interesting, because a lot of those bigger colour consultancy houses were quite snooty about online.
Yes.
After the duration of lockdown, it was ironic to see them all go full circle and start actually promoting themselves with us. So I know you and I had a sort of wry smile about that, but it worked. And in a sense, it was quite fortuitous for me professionally, not from a personal perspective at all. But because everybody was at home during lockdown and it went on longer than we all thought, a lot of people started clearing their wardrobes. A lot of people started wanting something to do that was different to fill the time. So actually, it probably elevated my business. And of course, with that, the influx of clients, then my confidence grew.
Yes.
So in a sense, it was, from a business perspective, actually probably quite fortuitous for me.
Yeah, it was just brilliant to see you fly, Sarah, and then to add on the style component to that. And it works so beautifully with your jewelry business as well. Now, things don't always go to plan, as we know, and life kind of happens, doesn't it? So you've come through quite a tough year, haven't you, Sarah? Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Yes, it's been a tough couple of years, really. During the first lockdown, we lost my mum very suddenly, very unexpectedly, which is still heartbreaking, because she was very much the pinnacle of the family. We're a very small but very close family. She was my best friend. We spent a lot of time together. So that was a dreadful shock. That then left my dad, who of the two of them was the frailer. He became bedbound. And so I then went into sharing care of him at home with my brother. And we, between us and with the help of some daily carers visiting to attend to his sort of more personal needs, we managed that for just over 2 years between us. So juggling the business was certainly very challenging. I suppose looking back again, it was a catalyst for leaving teaching, because I knew that, my brother at the time was down south. As I say, we're a very small, very close family. I'd spent a lot of time with mum and dad, but I could see that they were elderly and were going to become more frail, and the responsibility was going to turn to me. And I very much wanted to be there for them. And I knew I couldn't while I was teaching. There was no way I could have taken them to hospital appointments or done any of the things we did. So it was, having an online business gave me the flexibility to be able to care for my dad, obviously with my brother. So I very much changed how I worked. So initially it became a struggle, and I became quite stressed by it, because I thought I should be able to manage both, and I would go to dad.
We do that to ourselves all the time, don't we? That we have this massive life change or change of circumstances, and we think we're able to go on as before, and we can't. And And sometimes we have to prioritize our personal lives. We have to put our family first. We have to put other things in our life first. And having a business that kind of accommodates that ebb and flow of life, I think is so, so important.
Absolutely. I mean, for me, I started changing the way that I worked. So rather than trying to do sort of client work when I was at my dad's with one ear open, listening out, I thought, no, that's silly. So I time blocked, and I blocked time for clients. And then when I knew I was going to be at dad's, I would do my writing. So I would do my social media creativity. I would do my blogs. I would
Which
write
you're brilliant at, by the way. Your
my...
marketing and your events came in at that point.
Yeah. So I just pick, I did work that I could pick up and put down so that I was there for dad, because it's always been very, very important to me. Family first, and still is. And, my boys and my parents are my world. It's as simple as that. So that gave me the flexibility. So dad sadly passed in July last year, the end of July. So after a period of time, I now feel that this is my time to really deep dive into the business, to elevate it, to grow it, to scale it, and I'm very excited by that and feel incredibly grateful that I went down this route, and I'm full of gratitude that I was able to manage both.
Yes, yes, I know. Because for me, that is so important as well, Sarah. I could resonate with everything you say about your family. A big priority for me is that I can travel to Ireland as often as I can, to be with my family. My parents can't travel anymore. And it's just amazing. I have a huge family. I have a lot of siblings at home helping, but I love to relieve them, for a little bit when I go home, so they get a break, and, I can take over, and I just take my business with me. And I still continue to support you guys. I still continue to help you, especially in the color analysis group, if somebody is stuck or whatever, but it's very doable. It's very, very doable, which is the main thing. Now, Sarah, if there is somebody listening this morning, who is your ideal client? who are you best suited to work with?
For me, my ideal client is a lady who is a midlife lady. As far as my style work is concerned, I very much niched down, and you'll laugh at this because I've struggled with this for a long time.
You fought it a long time, Sarah.
A long time, because I think that was just a confidence thing. But my niche now very much with my style work is menopausal ladies. It's ladies who are perimenopausal or postmenopausal, because I'm just so passionate that whilst I can't alleviate a lot of the physical symptoms, I think an awful lot of the psychological and emotional symptoms of peri and postmenopause can be alleviated by a better, greater understanding of how we can flatter ourselves, be that colour or be that style. My colour seems to be attractive to a wider audience, but certainly as far as the style is concerned, it tends to be those ladies who have hit a crisis of confidence. Perhaps they've changed career, they're starting to become retired, they're coming out of the public sector, but menopause seems to be the thread that pulls that style together. And I think, given that I'm a plus size lady as well, with menopause comes, in many instances, additional weight. And so people resonate with that.
Yeah, it's another one of those massive transitions in our life that somehow we are not even aware of until next thing we're kind of hit with the symptoms and stuff. I mean, it wasn't on my radar 3 years ago, and now it's very much on my radar.
Yeah.
And it's amazing, these big transitions. We have to adjust, we have to change, our body changes, our hair changes, our skin changes, our body shape changes, everything changes. And it's one of those times in our life, I think, when we start to lose our way again. And having somebody there who kind of has seen it before, has gone through it before, and is there just to help is amazing. And that you don't feel like you're on your own going through it. and that there's no one else going through it. So where can people find you, Sarah?
Well, my business is True Colours with Sarah Heron, and that's Sarah with an H, and it's Heron, Heron, bird. And so that's the name of my website, www.truecolorswithsarahheron.com. That's probably the best place. I have a Facebook page and an Instagram page by the same name. And I have a Facebook group called Colour, Clothes and Confidence in Midlife.
Fantastic. And I might put that link for your group underneath this video, so people can get in there and get access to you. So Sarah, thank you for coming on this morning. You're an absolute joy in my color styling group, and also, you know, just to know over the last several years. And actually, I am running a free challenge next week. So everybody who Sarah, you've probably come to several of my challenges before, have you?
Amazing.
And yeah, I have a Get More Colors Clients Challenge happening next week. I'll be very, very much focusing on ideal client and niching down, because I do think it is absolutely the way you need to go to get your messaging out there to reach the people you really want to reach. Would you agree with that, Sarah?
Completely.
Completely. And most people argue this at the start, but eventually they realize, actually, to be really clear in what I'm providing, to be really clear in calling the right kind of people in, you need to know who you're speaking to, what their problem is, and that problem that you're solving for them. So right after this, Sarah, I'm going to be going in there, and I've nearly 500 people signed up. I am going to be letting them into my challenge group just after this live. So I'm really, really looking forward to that. I'm just going to pop the actual link in there for the challenge if anybody wants to get it. So I've just popped it in there on StreamYard anyway, but sometimes I put it on StreamYard and then it doesn't show up anywhere else. So I've just popped the link underneath this. You can also go on to any of my social media platforms and you'll find the link also. So that's all from me and Sarah this morning. Thank you so much for coming on, Sarah, and I wish you the very best of luck in your business.
Thank you. You too.